Hey fans, hey Rons. On this week's episode of Pro Saints Talk, we got a big fish in the house, David Helman, who works for the Dallas Cowboys, graduated from Jesuit in 2007, hops on the phone with Ron to break down the Cowboys and their season thus far and the upcoming matchup against the Hoodats on Thursday night. Speaking of Jesuit, we talk about the game in Yeoman Saturday. George breaks it all down for you. Where are we going to be? House party, bro? You got it. That and much more on this episode of PST Pro State Talk.
Look at uptown people like yeah. People up and gritting like yeah. Mid-city folks like yeah. People downtown man yeah.
Where you at, Hoodats? And welcome to this week's Pro Saints Talk. Look, I know it feels like a while ago, but we got to break down what was hoping to be a Thanksgiving feast. Instead, the Saints got feasted on. But we came in like it was the Red Wedding and just got absolutely massacred. We'll break it all down for you. We got the boys on the podcast tonight, and we got a special guest for you to cover the Cowboys. But first, I got to kick it over to my main man, George. How we living, baby?
Ron, we're lavish. We're here on a Tuesday night to record to get everybody ready for the big game Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Yeoman Stadium, where destinies are fulfilled, and we're going to get everybody listening ready for the big game, Catholic versus Jesuit, Saturday, 7 o'clock. Ron's, I'm just having fun. I do mean what I say. I got my heart and soul into that game. But, we were a bit crushed last Thursday night. Really a terrible way to end a great day. But I don't want to dive too deep into the Bills game. We can save our season with a little clickbait magic Thursday night, burst the Cowboys. So before I let it all out, we got to get our boy Jay in there. Jay, how you doing, dog?
I'm good. We got the IG live chat. We have our first viewer in here. Anybody want to guess who it is? Boogie Martin.
Eddie.
Look, he's back.
He's back.
Can he say anything?
He's texting. He said he's at a work conference. I'll check in with y'all after. Thanks, Boogie.
You the man, Boogie. So you said
like
Jay,
IG Live at the work conference.
Jay, you said 10,001 people are watching us right now, and that 10,000
It
first
just actually
person is
went
Boogie?
down to 9,800.
Nice.
But yeah,
Hey,
pretty strong for the first
That's a lot of
IG
Rons.
live.
What's up, 9,800 Rons? Let's get it.
That's
Ron will
Nation
have
for
the
you.
IG live next week. It's gonna be fun.
Let the hype build, dude. Let the beat build. All
You're
right.
right.
So look, talking about getting beat. One of the worst games in Sean Payton history, in our Saints fanhood history, as far as I'm concerned. I have multiple reports of people, I won't name names, of people that turned this game off early, people that left the dome early. I think that was pretty evident when you looked around the dome late in this one, and just a sea of blue and red out there. So look, credit to the Bills fans for traveling. But geez, what an embarrassing effort by the Saints this week. I think at one point, 64 yards in the first half. They were comparing it to the Carolina game in terms of which one was the worst. But George, the first half was just absolutely inept offense. And so where do you even begin to grade this team out? If it wasn't the fourth straight loss, I would just go ahead straight up and say, oh, this is one of those burn the tapes, flush the toilet. Maybe it still is. I don't know. But when it's 4 in a row and you cap off a 4-game losing streak like this, this is an exclamation point of just a low point of the season. So, George, where do you even begin to cast blame on how this happens?
First and foremost, when we saw the lineup, how they run through the tunnel and it's the flames. And look who they had to introduce for the starting lineup. Jones Jr., Tony as your running back, Trevor Siemian as your quarterback, Hurst starting as a tackle, Throckmorton, the tight ends, Ronnie Vanette. It was just like the lineup itself looked like the third quarter of a preseason game. just the names that were out there. And the execution looked like the fourth quarter of a preseason game. Nobody was on the same page offensively. And Sean Payton, he had all these desperate play calls to try to muster offense to move the ball downfield, like that god-awful fake punt and going for it on fourth down. And it was just so desperate and ugly and just bad. I mean, how many handoffs did we start on first down at Tony Jones Jr. where we just knew what was going to happen before the play even started? And it just seemed like no one was on the same page. I've never seen a Sean Payton offense where hut, the quarterback gets the ball, and some of the offensive linemen, it appears, are still waiting for one more hut, and they're caught on their heels, and then the play's already off to a terrible start, and then it's just ugly football. We used to see the Saints do stuff like this with, Billy Joe Tolliver and Billy Joe Hobart, but under Sean Payton, we've never seen anything this disgusting to the eyes. And then all these Bills fans were there, and they were all rowdy. And Campbell, the DJ, even played the Bills song and got all the Bills fans riled up. And then, if you just look before the game even started, you could just tell the Bills were just way more amped up than the Saints. I feel as though with Simeon and no Kamara, no big names offensively, they really didn't give themselves much of a chance to compete, and they just played like it. And that's just where but one thing I want to say too, this is okay. Sorry, a little bit of attack Sean Payton. One thing he did that was really disgraceful so he obviously is an offensive guy, takes a lot of pride in the offense. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. We all get that. But they said, how can you explain the struggles on offense this week? You know what he said? He said the kick return game was so bad that we always started in bad field position. And it was like, how dare you, Sean Payton? How dare you? We could have started the ball on the other team's 30. We weren't moving anywhere. And to me, that was a terrible response. I got a lot to say about this game, but most of it, you just flush it down the toilet. It doesn't belong. It was terrible. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, it was out of sync from the start. And I was talking to Ron before, and looking at that injury report, it was a long list. And I said when Marcus Davenport was out, we had no chance. We got the interception before halftime, but I don't think anybody was encouraged, although we had 2 turnovers before half, turned them over twice, just because we couldn't do anything on offense. The fourth down play where Teron Armstead didn't even move. It's clear at this point in the season that something else needs to be different. And George, I think what you've been rooting on all along, Taysom Hill, number 7, we need him to get back from that plantar fasciitis or whatever it is and ignite a little spark in this team, because although the last 3 haven't looked pretty at all, if you get him back and all of a sudden you're 6-6 and beat a pretty good Cowboys team with 5 weeks to go, maybe somehow you go 9-8 and get in the playoffs, but it looks pretty bleak at this point, Ron.
Yeah, George, I got to agree with Jansen on this one. I mean, we totally should have been starting Taysom Hill. I mean, Jansen's right. I don't know why. It just sounds better coming out of his mouth. No, look, George, we got to give you credit where it's due right here. But I'll give myself credit first, because I'm saying, look, going into this, my prediction was I needed Taysom Hill to be on the field to make some plays, and there's just too many variables. George, let's talk about your boy, because, I mean, he might as well have been a healthy scratch. So he's sitting on the sidelines the entire game with his beanie on or his ball cap on, listening to all the plays. I mean, not in on anything else, in special teams, offense, you name it. And then after the game, Peyton just gives this explanation of, oh, well, he was never going to come in and play in this game. He was never healthy enough to do it. I mean, if this isn't just the Rons crying right now to get Ian Book activated, I mean, what's it going to take, George? What's it going to take? I mean, how ridiculous of a coaching
Ron,
move is
he
that?
said it would. He said it'd only be an emergency. So you're saying that falling out of the playoff positioning isn't an emergency? I don't understand it. And I've beaten this dead horse too. When Jameis Winston went down, there was no reason to put clickbait at anything other than quarterback. Lo and behold, and here Seamus is going to make fun of me, he hurt his plantar fascia. I may have said that correctly. So now he's got this bad foot injury from playing that all special teams gadget role, and now we don't have our boy. And then you hear all the Rons in the bathroom. You hear all the Rons in the terrace. You hear all the Rons in the club all chanting, "We want Taysom. Where is Taysom? He's not available because he got hurt when he should have been playing quarterback." That's one thing that I've reiterated numerously. I'm not going to beat that dead horse anymore. I just can't get over the fact that he's dressed out and they say he's only in an emergency. How does this not dictate an emergency? Nowadays, getting a first down is like how in 2011 kicking a field goal used to be, getting points used to be. It's hard. It was hard last Thursday night to get a first down. It felt like a celebration when we got a first down. Everyone was getting up off their feet and high-fiving because there was a time there down 10 points, and you're like, maybe we can do something here, especially in the first quarter. Like maybe, if the offense can just wake up, you wouldn't bet on it, but it was just so hard and just so desperate for a spark. And we just have that Monte Ellis off the bench that can just go in there, that could just go off and score on you. And that's what we needed so badly. So to answer your question, Ron, I don't know what the hell is an emergency if that wasn't it on Thursday.
Monte Ellis from?
Jay. I know this. No, don't say anything. No, it's Mississippi. It's from Mississippi.
No, this is for Drew from Mississippi State.
You should have given me a minute.
John Liu chimes in on the Instagram chat saying that was typical Peyton, having him active at practice all week to make the Bills' game plan for Taysom. That's interesting.
It worked.
Wait, so time out. So people can hear what we're saying now, and then they're chiming in immediately. That's how this all works? Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't technology grand?
To 2021, nearly 2022, George.
I'm going to go ahead.
The thing that baffled me was he's active, but he's got his hat on the sideline, not looking like he's going to play unless it's an emergency role. I understand that, but you give him the contract extension for $10 million a year on the right after he gets that terrible concussion, and then he's got a foot injury. What's the backstory on the airline drive with that? I understand how valuable this guy is, but just the timing of that is really strange. And then to the Ian Book thing, I know we beat this dead horse, but I mean, at this point, just some type of life brought to that offense where it looks like, George, like you said, it was a celebration when the Saints got a first down. I mean, Traquan Smith was getting first downs and then running back behind the line of scrimmage. Just like, man, just fall down. But if this continues to go this way, the Saints lost 3. If they lose another one, I mean, you might as well give somebody like Book, a fair shake, or put Taysom in there for the remainder and see what he does, because it's not looking great right now, Ron. The tone on this podcast and among fans is a lot different than what it was 4 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. 5-2 feels like an eternity ago. I mean, remember how good that felt? And you're sitting here saying, oh, well, Peyton's got such a great track record with backup quarterbacks. He's always going to make the right tweaks. He's always going to make the right adjustments. I mean, at some point, he doesn't have enough to work with, I think. I mean, I think I've criticized him a little bit for not making in-game adjustments like with the Philly game. But, yeah, at this point, you have to just say he's not playing with a full deck. I mean, literally. You got Tony Jones Jr. and Ty Montgomery. We had less than 2 yards per carry this past week. We had 44 rushing yards, and that's including 3 from Simeon. And just like George said, it was bringing you back to the old school Jerry Romig days where, the Dome got lit for a first down. First down, Saints. And oh my gosh, there's just a wave started in the Dome. Yeah, that might be where the offense is at right now. It's a sad, sad time for the Sean Payton offense. You just hope that you can get enough reinforcements this week. So on that subject, I mean, let's talk about the injury report this week, because that was the big story going into last week. We have I think we're getting 1 day more advantage coming in on this week, just our recording schedule here. But I'm already a little discouraged looking at this, because Ramczyk went from limited participant yesterday to not practicing today. And I don't know if that's just rest or if that knee is back acting up again. Kamara is limited, so he's looking like he could be back. Armstead didn't practice. Davenport didn't practice. So, I mean, it looks like you're going to have Ingram, and I don't know what to say about Taysom Hill, because Taysom was full participant last week, but then the plantar fascia wasn't good enough to play on, which, in my opinion, look, I'm not SEMO, but I've dealt with a little plantar fascia or fasciitis, but, you know, you could play quarterback on that. That's all I'm going to say. You could tape it up, get the right support in your cleat. You could play quarterback with that. He might not be as mobile.
They're not all tough like you, Ron. They're not all made like you, man.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you. So yeah, okay. But this is a decent transition here. Is like, if you don't have Ramczyk and Armstead, George, we talk about this a little bit later in the segment with Dave Helman from DallasCowboys.com. This defensive line and this pass rush should scare you. And if Simeon is the starting quarterback, it should definitely scare you. I mean, the whole deep backdrop, the deep drops that, like, I started out defending him because I was so, like, I was enamored with his post-game interview where Armstead gave up the sack on the speed rush, and he said, yeah, I probably got a little too deep on that one. He is getting too deep on these. Like, it's a thing. He's, like, skittish. He doesn't want to step up into the pocket. We're 4 games into this experiment, and he's not getting any more comfortable. He's not getting any more confident. And, George, I know you're big on this. What's the body language telling you?
Wait, one thing, I think you brought up a good point about the offensive line. So James Hurst has looked like a great left tackle. Have y'all noticed his play diminish when he goes shifted over to the right? Remember Jamal Brown used to be a guy that we shifted over from left to right, right to left, and he would talk about how hard it is. And yet midweek, we're just moving James Hurst from left to right and watching his play deteriorate accordingly. And maybe keep, because Hurst could be your long-term left tackle, and you save that money from Armstead because he's got an expiring contract, and you let Hurst be your left tackle, and you can't move him to right. Is my whole point. And without Ramrod, without Armstead, we're looking at another makeshift offensive line, which not only is the talent going to be scary against these great Cowboy DNs, it's like you're also going to see more pre-snap penalties. You're also going to see more just the offensive line not being on the same page, out of sync, unsure how to play with each other. So beyond just the talent gap, there's also the chemistry gap that is just so worrisome when you move these offensive linemen. And I guess my whole point is we really ought to keep James Hurst at left tackle, where he has been a very serviceable piece. But when you shift him willy-nilly to right, there's a dramatic impact from that. I don't know if that's something that y'all have caught on to as well.
No, that's definitely a thing. I mean, I don't know if Jay knows about this more than me, but I've definitely heard tackles talk about, it's not, you kind of got to be ambidextrous, and not everybody is. Just it's that muscle memory in terms of that slide step, how much depth you're getting. It's just I think for the common fan, it's viewed as, oh, come on, like you're just shuffle the feet the other way, but it's really not. And then obviously guys are stronger with one arm, and like one arm's usually a good punch arm, keeping guys at the right separation. So yeah, I think it is a real thing that you're pointing out there, George, and obviously the play has shown it as well. So, okay, I guess we have to come off of this game somehow. You hope that Sean Payton's kind of peeled him off the turf after this one. And yeah, like we said, just forget about this one, 24-hour rule. But how do you get the confidence back after this? And I think that's a good transition to a fan question here. So, Jay, I want to bring you in. Drew Sensing, our boy Drew, Mississippi State Drew, asking, what do we need to do differently? and he's looking for 3 things to focus on for this team to get the win Thursday.
Whew. 3 things the Saints need to do differently. One is get number 41 on the field. 2 is have Taysom be the quarterback. And 3 is, these are all offensively. I think the rhythm of the team goes a little bit back and forth. Like the defense wasn't necessarily or close to as depleted as the offense last week, but it just seemed like they were playing uninspired football last week. Like on that first drive when Marcus Williams olays the tackle, that to me was a good barometer of just how focused and zoned in the defense was, the team was for that game. You know, if it's the Bucs game 4 weeks prior, Marcus Williams is probably hitting that guy at the line of scrimmage, and it's a tackle there instead of a touchdown. So I think it's
okay. I'll let you have that one, but no, dude. Anytime Marcus Williams is having to make a tackle, that's what you're going to get out of him. The guy does not like to hit.
All right. Well, that's a different subject. And then just on offense, some sustained drives. You know, we talked about like just the lack of rhythm. Ron, you love to point out starting fast and Drew Brees last week. It was interesting kind of hearing his point of view, you know, just being so unique. It was kind of, it's funny how Tirico talked about the Saints' history the last 15 years and how weird it is to see them stall out and how successful they've been in the past. And much of that was credited to Brees, who was sitting right next to him. And one of the things that he mentioned, Ron, that you love to talk about is fast starts. And it seems like the Saints in a while, right, haven't been able to put 6 or 7 on the board quickly, or at least on a first drive, better yet, a first quarter. So it'd be nice if the Saints could start fast instead of with a depleted offense trying to play catch up with these teams that have more weapons like Josh Allen, like Stephon Diggs, like this week in Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and CeeDee Lamb. You know, you need to be able to start fast and not play from behind. And George, you had the perfect opportunity earlier, man, to tell me to eat crow on this Taysom stuff, and you passed it up. I told Instagram Live, I said, here comes George getting heated in 3, 2, 1, but I'm still counting.
Well, you know what else is funny? I didn't get mad about clickbait, and then Ron interrupted Jay to correct him about his take about Marcus Williams tackling.
Ron, is it a full moon tonight? What is happening?
What is going on? You're not salivating at everything Jay's saying.
I actually was going to come in just now and say that was really funny how Tirico was like constantly, oh, this is just so uncharacteristic of the Sean Payton Saints over the last 15 years. And it's like, dude, you're putting Brees in this incredibly awkward spot where, like, no, that was the Drew Brees Saints for the last 15 years. Like, he was the catalyst for all of this. And like Brees had to, you know, be so political and just delicately be like, yeah, well, you know, they're just not executing right now, or, you know, they're just not finding their spark. And oh, you know, the center's calling out the mic now and not the court, like all this BS. And it's like, no, we don't have a Hall of Fame leader at quarterback that can make snap decisions, fire the ball accurately, like step up in the pocket, navigate the pressure, get a throwing lane. Like, we don't have that right now. And so, yeah, it was incredibly frustrating to listen to that broadcast because they just kept living in the past of Drew Brees' glory days. And it's like, what the hell do you want him to say, Tirico? You want him to say, yeah, you know what? You know why they suck? Is because I'm not out there. So, yeah, I don't know. All right. So, Jay, George, that was a really good point. This is a dangerous offense coming in that's been a little sporadic over the last month. They've lost 3 out of 4. We're on a 4-game skid. They're kind of fighting for top, you know, NFC seeding. Well, maybe not top anymore, but they're fighting for a higher seed. They're still vying for the division. we're fighting for our freaking playoff lives right now. I mean, you talk about must wins. We've kind of thrown that out there this past month or so. It doesn't get much more must win than this. George, any disagreement there?
Well, Ron, I feel like you're preluding to a great conversation. So there's this little fish named Helman that we used to play foosball with, and he's been trying to like start his podcast. He's got a little rinky-dink podcast for the Cowboys. And, you know, fellow Blue Jay, of course, we're here to help him out. He's a great guy. So Ron graciously, you know, threw the dog a bone, and he had him on, brought him on to, you know, give him some light. You know, he did a great job. Ron, I have to admit, you know, you can be intimidating. You know, you have such a big presence. You're such a big dog in this industry that, you know, I feel like he held himself well. He didn't kiss your butt a bunch and get real nervous and keep repeating how many Twitter followers you have. So I thought he did a great job. So I think right now would be a great introduction to Ron and Helman's Cowboys Saints conversation. Here it is.
All right, where are you at, Hoodats? We got a special edition here. You know, look, we're not fortunate enough every year that we don't play the Dallas Cowboys every year, but on years like this, Pro Saints Talk has a gracious guest that likes to come on and join us. We're going to be talking with David Helman of DallasCowboys.com. He is a staff writer, and he also has his own podcast called The Break on DallasCowboys.com. Twitter handles @HelmanDC. You'll see he's got the official blue check. He's got 100,000 followers, 100,000. So, and he's not too proud to get on this podcast with us amateurs. We go way back. Jesuit 07. He's a great man and a Tiger nonetheless. Hey, right off the bat, let's get your thoughts, dude. It's breaking news. Brian Kelly, what's the gut reaction on the new coach?
Oh, my. Yeah. Hey, don't stop selling yourself short, man. I am happy to come on with a classmate and a friend anytime. I wouldn't miss it. Yeah, dude, that was stunning. I mean, we knew LSU's AD was going to go after a big name, but that just wasn't even on my radar at all. So yeah, I was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, but that's why I didn't even get stressed out about it with like, oh, we're missing out on Lincoln Riley. Oh, we're missing out on. Oh, it's got to be Dave Arena. Nobody has a clue, and that's why I'm along for the ride, and I just I'm just gonna trust the process because the last 3 hires have all won national championships.
I tried to keep going back to that too. I was like, okay, well, our last 2 coaches won titles and we fired them both. So like really anybody we get has a great chance to succeed. And after I got over the kind of shock of it, I started thinking, man, if you look around the NFL, like 2/3 of the great offensive linemen in the NFL right now came out of Notre Dame. So I ain't mad about the thought of having like a bulldozer offensive line in Baton Rouge. So like it's been we're probably recording this like 45 minutes after the news came out, and I'm already like talking myself into getting hyped about it. So that's how you know I'm
you're sending a little set. You're sending a little set of chills down my back, dude. Getting the Hogs back, getting the offensive line back in order. I mean, that's where LSU needs to be. So yeah, no, that's exciting, man. All right. But, hey, it's a Saints podcast. We'll get it back on topic here. So, look, weird week. We're both coming off of Thursday games. Both teams kind of in a funk, I'll say. I mean, Cowboys lost 3 of 4 now. I bet you're really glad to be through the AFC West on the schedule now. And then the Saints losing 3 in a row now. Actually 4 in a row, 4 in a row now coming in. So, yeah, on a complete skid. But just give me your high-level state of the union with the Cowboys here.
Yeah, man, it's a weird time in Dallas, and it just goes to serve as a reminder of like the ups and downs of an NFL season, because at the start of November, people in DFW were like trying to figure out the route for the Super Bowl parade. I mean, that's how good the Cowboys looked, and that's how confident the fan base was. You know, you win 6 games in a row, you go into the bye week having beaten the Patriots, who all of a sudden look like a contender. And the wheels have just kind of fallen off here. They lose to Denver. A lot of blame just goes on them not taking the Broncos seriously. But then they haven't been able to snap out of that funk. I mean, they beat a mediocre Atlanta team convincingly, but they go up to Arrowhead. The offense has really no-showed, honestly, three out of the last 4 weeks. And a lot of that is because of guys not being available. Amari Cooper's missed 2 games on the COVID list. CeeDee Lamb missed a game and a half with a concussion. Zeke Elliott's got a knee injury. The list of excuses goes on and on and on. But like I keep saying, and, we're into Saints week now, and I keep bringing this up. I'm like, hey, guess what? The Saints have lost 4 in a row, large in part because of who they haven't had available. I mean, when you talk about not having Kamara, not having Ryan Ramczyk, not having Taysom Hill available to help out the quarterback situation, I mean, everybody in the NFL is dealing with losses in November, and the Cowboys just really have not handled those losses well. They haven't responded to the adversity, and it's only gotten worse this week. I mean, Mike McCarthy's now in the COVID protocol, so they won't have their head coach on Thursday night in the Superdome. And yeah, I mean, this is a big one because I mean they were 6-1, and now they're staring down the barrel of 7-5. You go from thinking you have a shot at maybe getting the bye to now you're worried if you're even going to win your division. So, Saints and Cowboys both get a little bit of a break after this game. They get the long weekend, and I mean, the Cowboys really need it, but they'd be even happier if they can get to it, having gotten a win in New Orleans.
No, a lot to touch on there. I mean, I loved what you were saying about, well, who do you blame? The offense kind of falls flat. So that's what I want to kind of talk about is what is Dak Prescott? How does he grade out for you here in year 6? I mean, he's been MVP caliber and candidate at times, and then other times wildly inconsistent. So what do you see, and how much of that is on the fact that you hadn't had CeeDee Lamb consistently? You had Amari Cooper out. You got injuries. You got a shuffling offensive line there. I mean, how much of that is Dak versus the personnel?
It's a great question, and I think it's at the center of everything with the Cowboys right now. And it's fascinating because Dak really looked like an MVP, and you combine how well he was playing with the brand power of the Dallas Cowboys and the fact that he's a likable guy coming off an injury. I think most NFL fans probably like him or at least feel neutral toward him. So I wrote a column before the Cowboys went up to Kansas City. I was like, I think Dak Prescott, if he keeps playing the way that he has, I think he's going to win the MVP. And then lo and behold, they lose Amari Cooper to COVID, and he hasn't been the same guy. And that's fine. I mean, I think all good quarterbacks need talent around them. But the old cliche is like, if you're really that guy, if you're really the most valuable player in the league, you got to be able to lift your team in trying circumstances. It was earlier this season, Aaron Rodgers went out to Phoenix without any of his top receivers. Like, they had nobody available for that game, and they still managed to pull a win out of the fire. And Dak just hasn't been doing that. He's been inconsistent with his throws. He hasn't dealt well with pressure because they're kind of juggling the offensive line. So it's I'm not calling the guy a bum. I'm definitely not writing off his season. I think he's still one of the 6 or 7 best quarterbacks in the NFL. But he's had a huge opportunity the last 3 weeks to make a statement about just how good he is. And to this point, he hasn't quite measured up.
Yeah, and I heard y'all saying on the break this week that, you've got all these injuries. Now you got the COVID bug passing, along the coaching staff and a couple of players. And you said, hey, but nobody cares. Nobody's going to have any sympathy for you. I would argue that. I would argue that the Saints of all teams might have a little empathy because we went through that same deal in Carolina where we had rookie quarterback Ian Book running the substitutions for us on offense because about half the coaching staff couldn't be on the sidelines. So, I think we saw how flat the Saints came out in that game. But then even if we're not empathetic, the Saints definitely care about y'all's status because we look at it as a potential opportunity, unfortunately, here to get you without your leader on the sidelines, Mike McCarthy. So how significant is that? I know they made the announcement that Dan Quinn's going to be the interim head coach. I mean, or the acting head coach, however you want to call him. He's got the head coaching experience. And yeah, like you said, familiar opponent as a former Falcons head coach. What kind of lapses on game day can you expect from not having the leader on the sideline there?
I'm really curious about this. And I'm not trying to knock Mike McCarthy. I think he deserves a lot of credit for what the Cowboys have done. I think a lot of times people don't give credit to a coach for simply getting out of the way and trusting the people that he hired to do their jobs. And that's really what McCarthy's been doing this year. He lets Kellen Moore call the offense. It's been good way more often than it's been bad. Dan Quinn kind of revitalizing this defense is a big reason for the Cowboys' success. I mean, we came into the season thinking, okay, well, if the defense is just mediocre, then they've got a chance to be good because the offense is so talented. But the defense has been way better than that. I mean, they've been outright good for most of the season. So I think Mike McCarthy deserves a lot of credit for that. But the reason I bring this up is there's kind of been a running joke around Dallas this whole season of like, well, what does Mike McCarthy do? I mean, if Kellen Moore is the one calling the plays and Dan Quinn's in charge of the defense, that pretty much just leaves Mike to call timeouts, throw challenge flags, and maybe make the occasional fourth down decision. But really, it's his coordinators are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So this is going to be really interesting because I think, we're going to find out just how valuable Mike McCarthy is in terms of decision-making on game day. And B, like you just alluded to, I think it's fascinating that it's going to be Dan Quinn filling in for him because not only, obviously, he's been a head coach, but he was the head coach of the Falcons. So he's well familiar with going into the Superdome. He should be very familiar in that environment. I don't know if that gives him any type of advantage, but it's just kind of funny to me that he gets his first opportunity to kind of handle the head coaching role for the first time since he got fired by the Falcons. And lo and behold, it's against the Falcons' biggest rival, the Saints. So I just think it's funny the way life kind of works out like that sometimes.
Oh, it definitely gives the team some bulletin board material. You know he's going to have some extra juices going leading up to this game day for sure. Let's talk about that defense. So, yeah, I totally agree. I do think Dan Quinn has kind of refound that Seattle magic a little bit. I mean, the defense forces a lot of turnovers. I mean, no one cares about my fantasy team, but I'm carrying the Cowboys defense, even through a rough week last week. But, yeah, I look at the Cowboys defense and I look at sustainability, I feel like, from drafting. I mean, you just look at the guys that you all have drafted. I mean, even dating back to guys like D-Law, Randy Gregory. But now you got the new class coming in with Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons. I mean, this team has really been really well built through the draft with some of these big-time playmakers, and some of those guys have the potential of coming back. I mean, I guess – one of my questions is like, who's that most dangerous pass rusher? And I feel like that's a fair question now with Micah Parsons racking up 9 sacks here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy, he beat DeMarcus Ware's record for most sacks by a Cowboys rookie, and DeMarcus Ware is going into Canton next year. So I'm not trying to put Micah there right now, but that just kind of tells you the type of company that he's in right now. It's going to be interesting. I wish I had a better answer for you, because DeMarcus Lawrence has been gone since week 2. You know, he's an all-pro. He's a 2 or 3 time Pro Bowler. He's had a couple of 14, 15 sack seasons over the years. He broke his foot week 2, and the Cowboys haven't had him ever since. He came back to practice last week, The hope is that he's going to be able to play against the Saints. But, I mean, that's a long layoff. That's 9 or 10 weeks where he hasn't been playing football. I wonder if just a couple of practices is enough to get him ready, but I know that's what they're hoping for. And, that starts to give you some juice. They're not going to have Randy Gregory for this game, but it is, if you're a Cowboy fan, that's kind of the other side of the coin is like, oh man, it's been a rough month, but 2 weeks from tonight, you could reasonably expect to have DeMarcus Lawrence on one side, Randy Gregory on the other side, and then Micah Parsons chipping in as an occasional pass rusher or a blitzer. So, I mean, that is a lot of firepower coming at quarterbacks that could really take this defense to the next level. And, I try to be really honest. Like, I wasn't sure Parsons was the right pick for the Cowboys at 12, but I mean, every week he continues to prove me wrong. I think if he didn't play another snap this season, he would be Defensive Rookie of the Year, which, he didn't play a junior season at Penn State. He literally took last season off. And he's still putting up numbers like this. It's been wild to watch.
Yeah, I mean, and wouldn't that be crazy if Jamar Chase wins it on the offensive side? And yeah, it's a couple opt-out guys. I mean, I don't want to promote that
Yeah.
in the college game.
Everybody did a lot of hand wringing about guys sitting out during COVID, and it doesn't really seem like it mattered very much.
Nope. Yep. As much as it pains us Tiger fans. All right. So yeah, dude, that's scary for me. Like genuinely just looking at the injury report. Cause yeah, we've said it. If we haven't said it, I know you've said it on your shows. I mean, it's Monday here. We are fortune telling in terms of who's going to be suiting up for this Thursday game here. You look at the injury report for the Saints. Teron Armstead didn't practice. Ryan Ramczyk was limited. So, I mean, even if they are coming in, they're definitely not 100%. And I can just tell you that genuinely scares me as a Saints fan going into this one. Even with the little bit of a spark that we can expect to see from Taysom Hill coming in and taking the starting job this week, he's still not the greatest decision maker. He's definitely not going to be getting the ball out at Drew Brees rates. And so it just leaves me vulnerable. But flipping it back over on the offense, y'all are also looking to get CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper back, and we kind of talked a little bit about that. But I mean, that's huge for Dak's game to get him back. How do you feel about this matchup? Because I can tell you, as a Saints fan, I feel like Marshawn Lattimore steps up for these big matchups, but I'd be concerned about our number 2 corner, Paulson Adebo. We've been working in Roby and Bradley Roby in there as well. But yeah, this receiving core is no joke.
Well, we'll see though, and it's going to be interesting. I feel like I've said that about everything, but I mean, I just feel like, and this always feels like it happens, but this just feels like a game that both teams really need to have. The Saints to kind of stay alive in the wild card chase, but the Cowboys feel like they're dangerously close to giving ground in the division race. But the reason I say that is I would have told you over the weekend, yeah, Amari's going to play. He'll be fine. And he might still, but he didn't practice today. He's not off of the COVID list yet. It sounds like he's coming out of it, but they didn't practice him today. He's still technically not on the roster. So that really gives them tomorrow's their last real practice day before they head to New Orleans. And I just wonder, I feel like he probably needs to get out on the field and do something if they're going to expect him to play in that game. So again, I can't predict the future, but I'm not as 100% sure that Amari's going to play in this game as I was 2 days ago. And I can't understate how big I think that is. I think we've seen over the last couple weeks, people sleep on Amari Cooper. He doesn't make all of these like circus catches and do all this crazy stuff that you see from guys like maybe DeAndre Hopkins, but he commands the attention of the other team. I mean, week after week, we see opposing coaches focus on Amari Cooper as the guy to stop in the Cowboys passing offense. He's constantly drawing double teams. He's constantly bringing safeties over to his side. And that just makes everything easier for everybody else. And I think they've really missed that. I think CeeDee Lamb is a great young player. Michael Gallup is a solid number 2 receiver, but I don't know if either one of those guys is capable of not only drawing that attention, but still winning anyway. And that's what you get with Cooper. So Lamb's going to play, Gallup's going to play. That still makes their passing offense dangerous, but Amari Cooper really takes it to the next level. And so if he can't go, I think that's huge for the Saints. Whereas, yeah, and that's the beauty of it for the Cowboys is if he's available, by all means, Marshawn Lattimore, shadow him, go wherever you want to, but that exposes you with the rest of your secondary against 2 really good receivers. So, like I said, I can't say enough about how important that is. I'm going to be watching it closely to see if Amari can get himself ready to go for this game.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And look, yeah, we've highlighted several times. Thursdays are wacky. You never know what you're going to get here in terms of availability of guys. How much game planning can you really pack in? Both teams are coming off of a quote-unquote full week, but it still feels short, and it's got to feel short for the players as well. All right, let's get to the real game of the weekend. So, Dave, you're flying in for this one. Is the team charter going to allow for you to hang over for the weekend? Because we got a Jesuit state championship this Saturday against the boys in black and orange Catholic Bears. Look, I can tell you the local handicappers have Catholic 3.5-point favorites on this one. How you feeling about the Jays this Saturday?
So fortunately, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really fun and cool traveling with the team. But because of COVID, they kicked me off the plane anyway. They don't, they're trying to keep as many people away from the team as possible that don't need to be there. So I'm flying good old fashioned commercial this weekend. So I'm going to hang around, and I might have to be there. I'm not going to pretend like I closely follow high school football, but I saw our boys in blue were playing Catholic. And I just remember when we were in school, Catholic used to ruin our season like every year. Like it felt like we went up to Baton Rouge like every year of my high school career and got our asses kicked. So I'm really hoping they can reverse that trend and get a win over Catholic on Saturday night. And I've got, we both went to LSU. I've made a few friends over the years that went to Catholic, and I would absolutely love to be able to talk trash to them for the rest of time, really.
Oh, no doubt, dude. I mean, look, 2014 was cool because it was John Curtis and it was like a fabled high school football program that we beat for that state championship. But this would mean so much more personally, and it's just so much more satisfaction. And look,
exactly. Curtis is great, but I don't know. We never had like a rivalry with them, but I swear like every year it felt like we were losing to Catholic, and all these annoying Baton Rouge Catholic kids are in my face about it. I would love to beat those guys.
Oh, well, and, Brothers of the Sacred Heart, it's a Brother Martin school. So, yeah, to beat Brother Martin in the semis and Catholic in the finals would be just incredible. Look, dude, it's the unofficial 14-year reunion at Roberts Bar on Calhoun. So you got to be there, be in that number. George has got the crew rallying. I've already heard.
Oh, I'm glad you're telling me this.
Crew is in. Dude, I've heard the baseball crew's in. The soccer crew is in. Like, the gang is rallying.
So we'll just have ourselves a little 07 reunion on Saturday night. I love it.
No doubt, dude. All right. Well, look, really appreciate you coming on the show, dude. Again, y'all, Dave Helman, he's at Helman DC, staff writer for the Dallas Cowboys. Check him out. This guy's legit. Dude, did I see you won an Emmy?
I did. To be fair, it's a local Emmy. It's not like I didn't win the big national thing, but yeah, they gave me a cool little trophy.
I'm telling you, man, I think you could be at the top for most successful 07 grad, dude. Got the blue check, 100K followers, killing it.
I gotta talk to whoever's at the alumni office about that. We'll see. I'll see how I stack up.
All right, bro. Well, hey, really appreciate it, man. And good luck Thursday. Hopefully we'll see you around, man.
Anytime, my guy. I'm looking forward to coming home. Looking forward to seeing y'all.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later, man. All right, again, that was really awesome. 07 Jay getting on the podcast. So timely too, with the Jays playing the Bears this Saturday in Yeoman. I mean, it's going to be really positive vibes going in. But seriously, y'all, that's why we look forward to playing the Cowboys on the schedule, is we get to have Dave Helman come on. Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, okay, so y'all obviously weren't on that. So y'all's thoughts on just the matchups this week, the players. I mean, this is a talented team. Like I brought up on there, they have built a really strong defense with the draft. Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, kind of refound it. Jay, what's your thoughts on that with him being the interim head coach this week, or the acting head coach this week?
I think he's much better served as a coordinator than a head coach, Ron. But I think
history shows.
Yeah. I mean, Quinn, he got the job in Atlanta because he was an excellent defensive coordinator in Seattle. And the Cowboys started off the season really hot. They've really improved on that side of the ball. And it seems to me, I mean, you don't have to really know the game that well to make the observation that Dan Quinn seems a whole lot more comfortable as a D coordinator in the booth with that backwards hat. I think that's the role he belongs in. Not everybody is built to be a head coach, to be in that CEO role, George, or to be that expert, to be able to call plays on offense or defense, and then also coach a football team. So it looks like Quinn is very comfortable in that role, and they've gotten great contributions like Helman talked about, and Micah Parsons, who, if you read David's Twitter feed, I mean, he's talking about this guy nonstop, and rightfully so, with 10 sacks in his rookie season, only 10, 11 games in. He's been quite impressive. And I think DeMarcus Lawrence has been banged up, and then obviously you got Diggs that seemed like he was getting 3 interceptions every game the first 5 weeks. So they have some real difference makers on that side of the ball, and I think Dan Quinn has been a good fit there.
Yeah, so I think it should definitely scare us. Like I said, confidence levels at an all-time low, and some of these fan questions are pretty indicative of that, George. So I got one here from our boy Dirk, and he's asking why he should even be watching this team play Thursday, saying that they ran surrender offense last week, which I've never even heard of that one.
Because we're not Atlanta Falcon fans, Bird, Bronco, and Dirk, Stu. Come on, dog. We're better than that. We stick with our boys through thick and thin. Look, it's not good. It's not pretty. It was painful. Did I stay the whole game? No. Do I always stay the whole game? Yeah. I mean, that was rough. I get it, man. I get it. There's optimism now. We have clickbait. Am I going to bet on the Saints to win? No. No, not for. I mean, I don't bet on the Saints anyway, but you know what I'm trying to say. But come on, Bird. We're better than that. Yeah, we're better.
Did you and Boris wear witches hats? Yes.
Well, so wait,
but this is
Jay,
where you
hold on,
stripes,
Ryan.
right?
Hold on, right. It is that is right because look, that's like the beauty of being a fan is like when you endure these painful moments, is that makes when victory like the juice of victory is all the better, like because you went through these sorrowful moments. So that's why you do it, because when we're good again, you're gonna have some bandwagon bitches being like, no, man, where were you when we were getting our butts kicked on Thursday night in the Dome? So these are the moments that you earn your stripes, like Jay says. I mean, Ron said. But hold on, Jay, you alluded to something that we talked about pre-podcast that the Rons didn't hear. So Helman kind of joked, "Oh, what does McCarthy do? What does he do? He doesn't control the offense, doesn't control the defense, doesn't play call for either." And I think that's the best approach for a head coach, to motivate the players and put out fires in each respective position group, whether offense, defense, or special teams, and let one guy prioritize or fixate on one position group and then oversee all of those operations. To me, that is the clear-cut best way to run an NFL team. And there's many coaches that have that CEO approach with success. And what that defends against is guys like Sean Payton. God bless him. I'm attacking him a lot tonight. You know I love him with all my heart. But maybe that prevents a coach from prioritizing the passing game over the defensive line, or prioritizing the offense, generally speaking, over the defense. Because over the Saints' tenure of the golden era, that was the Achilles heel. We'd have an offense that could move the ball at will and a defense that would do the same for the other team. So that, to me, is the best approach.
I think it depends, George. I don't think it's a bad approach, certainly, to have the CEO type. I mean, especially in college where, like, I think that job is more of a CEO manager, right, to make sure that everybody's doing the job they need to do, especially with the recruiting aspect of things. But if you go back and look at past Super Bowl winners, you had the Bucs last year. Of course, Brady had a lot to do with it, but Arians turned over the reins to Byron Leftwich. I'm sure Arians is still really involved. Bill Belichick has been that, to your point, that CEO kind of role. I know his masters in football.
I was just about to use that as a counterpoint. Wait, I was just about to use that as a counterpoint and say he's a defensive guy. He always harps on the defense.
Yeah, he's a defensive guy, but he's had coordinators in there, and I don't think he's calling it.
Well, we have coordinators. I mean,
but no, different strokes for different folks is what I'm trying to say. I don't think there's any better way to do it. It depends on who the head guy is. Like, as good of a play caller as Peyton is, I've said it before on here, he's as good of a motivator, right? And George, to your point, maybe that takes away a little bit of his responsibility with the defense, where he's giving a little bit more leeway to that coordinator because he doesn't have as much oversight. But guys like Matt LaFleur with Green Bay seem to have done it. They've done well, right? But then you look at a guy like Pete Carroll, who I mean, what's his specialty? He's the rah-rah guy, make sure everybody's copacetic and hire the right guys. And the other thing too is coaches needed, part of their job is hiring and firing. So they need to get credit. Like, you can't discount McCarthy for being a CEO, but then also be fired up about Dan Quinn as coordinator, because there's a reason why Quinn came to Dallas and somebody had that thought to bring him in.
Ron, are you making a point to correct Jay tonight because of all the following his coattails?
No, I was actually going to use. No, I was actually waiting to use that as a counter argument to you, because I mean, you're making it sound like Coach O is in line to be the next NFL head coach because he's just the overseer. He's not an expert on anything but D-line. He's going to hire good coordinators.
We all know little
2019.
we all know little Belichick's call on the Patriots defense. Come on, Ron.
No, it used to be. Right. What's your boy's name that coached the Lions with the pencil in his ear?
Patricia.
Yeah. And then he had Romeo Cornell.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, the coordinators change, the defense stays the same in New England. So that's what I'm saying. So anyway, I just feel like he's the same as Sean Payton, just the inverse. All right.
Mike Vrabel was in our DC. Sorry.
Again, he moves on. The defense stays the same. So anyway, look, we got a couple fan questions, and I'm gonna hit them as they come here. So look, Tuck's asking, do we bring the tank out with a loss Thursday? Dude, we just got done talking about it. This is where you earn your stripes. I'm gonna make a good reference here to my boy Jimmy Dugan, manager of the Rockford Peaches in a league of their own. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. The hard is what makes it great. These times are hard, and that's what's going to make it great when this team makes the playoffs, gets on a run, when Jameis comes back next year, and we're Super Bowl contenders again. All right? That's what it's all about. Okay.
Good is on the other side of hard. And Tuck, I don't think this team needs to try to tank.
Whoa, dude, what do you mean by that?
I mean, look how terrible we were last Thursday.
Oh, dude. You're right. I mean, when you're this depleted, that is what we got right now. All right. So, all right, Jay, fun one here from Bruce. Should they give Ian Book some PT before he decides to enter the transfer portal? Maybe he wants to go back and play for Brian Kelly at LSU. Does he have any eligibility left?
And the fun is over, George. I mean, how fun – I was talking to George earlier to be a fly on the wall and just watch this LSU coaching search pan out. It's just the ups and downs of, man, Brian Kelly to, Brian Kelly, he's 55-9 or whatever he is, and this many 10-win seasons, and he was our guy all along. But I'm sorry to all those that have been following the coaching changes board on Tiger Droppings as a better reality show or better drama than The Sopranos and everything else out there. But it has come to an end. Brian Kelly, who Bruce is alluding to, your coach of the LSU Tigers. So that's gonna be fun to see all that unfold. I mean, we'll see, right? One thing that was disappointing, I'm sure you guys had the same sentiments, is like you're sitting there on Sunday after that loss, just that crushing defeat, and you're interested in the games for whatever reasons, because you like NFL football, because you play fantasy, because you're a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase fan. But it does hurt your heart a little bit, to be watching that with the Saints being 5-6 and looking like they're outside of the playoff picture. But I say all that to say, if it continues to go on this downward trajectory and the Saints are 6-9 or something like that, I think maybe at the end of the season, that's when you might see somebody like Ian Book come in and see what he's got.
I mean, anything's on the table. If you would, I think when you first brought this up, Jay, when Jameis was healthy, I was like, get the heck out of here. But look at where we are now. And it kind of makes sense if Taysom doesn't get right here. All right. let's get to a little bit of maybe money lines and kick it to a segment with the Godfather. See how we can maybe pick up our moods a little bit coming off this rough Thanksgiving and fill up our pocketbooks. Let's kick it to the Godfather.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Ron Nation. Hope y'all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Mine was horrible. Let's get right to it. Let me tell you a game I'm not going to pick this week, but I'll talk about it. Saints Cowboys Dome. Expect to see a lot of Cowboys fans there. Looking at the prices on the secondary market, you're looking really low, especially for a Saints Cowboys game. Up until about 3 weeks ago, all the Cowboys fans were Super Bowl or bust. Saints getting 4.5 at home, looking to avoid a 4th straight loss. You got too many question marks. What's Taysom going to look like? Is Taysom going to start? How much are they going to run it with him? Is Kamara back? How healthy is he? Are Armstead and Ramczyk back? You got all the Cowboys coaches out with the COVID. You got Amari Cooper probably still out with the COVID. Zeke might be. There's just way too many question marks. I would maybe lean the over. I think it's about 47 and a half, but I'd stay away from that one. All right, let's go into the 5. Bucks laying 11 at Atlanta. Don't really like anything about this Atlanta Falcons team. Tom Brady, they're hitting their stride right when he always hits his stride. Georgia Dome, that's might as well be a Bucks home game or a practice. Let's lay 11 with the Bucks. Vegas laying 2.5 at home against the football team. I like Vegas in this one. They had the mini bye week after playing on Thanksgiving. Washington just gritted out a tough one at home. They got the short week. They got to travel out west to Vegas. Let's lay the 2.5 right there with Vegas. Let's lay another big number on the road. Colts laying 9 at the Texans. Colts earlier this year absolutely massacred this Houston team. Tyrod Taylor's back, but that's a stinky team there in Houston. Let's lay the big number. Colts defense will be ready to play, bounce back after that week against the Bucks. And look, if they don't turn the ball over 3 times in the second half, it might be looking at a different story. I think it's a good Colts team. Their record's not indicative of how good they are. I expect Jonathan Taylor to run all over them. Let's lay the big number with the Colts. All right. Another road favorite, but it's a short road favorite. We're going to take them because Seattle is dead. That's right. San Francisco laying 3.5 on the road at Seattle. I mean, that team just looked lifeless Monday night. They got the short week. I think everybody knows it's the end of the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era. Let's lay the short number on the road. Let's lay 3.5 with the 49ers. Okay. Too many favorites, but we're going to take another one. It feels like I don't know. I'm not wild about this favorite. I just got a feeling about it. Another team coming off the mini bye. The Buffalo Bills are at home in Bills Mafia has been waiting for this game all since Brady moved to down south to the Bucks. They're laying 3. I think if you wait until Sunday or Monday, you might get 2 in the hook. The Patriots are going to be a very popular side. The Patriots have covered, I believe, the last 6 or 7. I can't remember, but I know they lost Trey White on Thursday. I just got a good feeling about the Bills. It's going to be nuts there at the Ralph Wilson. I think the Bills, I don't know how many tables they're going to break all day Monday. It's Buffalo, December, playing for the division, playing for playoff seeding. Josh Allen got right last week. I give me the Bills, lay the 3, maybe wait. Don't go run into the bookie. Don't go run into your book. Wait. See if you can get that hook, that 2 in the hook. Maybe Monday morning. All right. Back to the crown princes of the Ron Nation, Ron, Jay, and George.
All right. Appreciate the segment, Godfather. And I got one more for you, Jay. Look, the local bookies credit Slant Boy for this one, and our local Slant Boy, not Mike Thomas. I'm talking about our boy Grammy. He's got the local bookies saying that this Jesuit Catholic game, they got Catholic as 3.5-point favorites on this one, over under 44. What you like on that one, Jay?
4. I mean, who's making these lines, Ron?
Local handicappers, man. I didn't even know this was a thing.
And who's betting on them?
Bruh, the high school football Rons.
44. I haven't watched much
3.5-point favorites.
Catholic film, but they've had great players there like Major Applewhite, Warwick Dunn. The list goes on and on. Number 6 out there. We don't talk about him, Rob. Number 6 out there last week. I mean, he looked like a young Rob Barrios the way he was running those post routes. I think he caught a touchdown with his eyes closed. I know Tito Puente mentioned throwing the ball to number 6 this week. I'm going to take the over. It's going to be George is going to touch on the atmosphere in Yeoman Saturday, but the 3 of us, proud graduates of Jesuit High School, class of 2007, and we're reuniting all the Rons and going to be out there and in our blue and white through all the days of strife and going to celebrate another state championship. Can't wait to be back with everybody.
Wait, I have to wait. I that was an awful blue and white through all the days of strife. It's an awful
Get out
quote.
of here, Jay. Go back to school.
Blue and white through victory and through strife.
No, that was kind of
blue and white.
All the days of life through victory and through strife.
Oh my God, dude, y'all are.
That was kind of my own spin on it for the game this weekend.
Well, it's not all misery. It's not all misery. That's a terrible quote to say it's all misery.
But y'all
sick.
Y'all are so quick to correct.
Fortunato on y'all.
Jeez.
Wait, one thing too is if you don't know, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Everyone abides the law, but if you don't know who's setting the handicaps on high school football games, and you don't know who's taking that action, you have never been to Mama's place in Metairie. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else. But
we'll leave
go
it
to
at that,
Mama's place. If you want to have that question answered in your mind, there's a spot in Metairie. I think it's on Hesiod. I don't go there very often or know much about it. Go there, and your questions will be answered on who's setting these lines, and they're all abiding by the law. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. Ron, I got a question coming in for you.
Wait. Alex Puente did want group predictions for Jesuit versus Catholic, so why don't you give him one, George?
Oh, like the Buffalo Bills. Dude, this dude is Buffalo Bills. I don't know his name. The Bills by a billion guy. Man, he mocked the Saints hard. I wish I had known about that pregame. I would have came in a bit more lively, not a bit like pulling myself off the couch to go to the game, my son's first game. But Jay's by a billion, Jay's by a trillion. Man, those Catholic kids, they don't want to cross Claiborne. They don't know what's coming at them once they cross Claiborne. They don't want that in their life, Ron. They're gonna stay on the good side of Claiborne. So, Ron, you know what's coming. But Ron, you're not even gonna go to the game. You're gonna be whining and dining like a little fucking shrimp at Clancy's with your fucking Crusaders when you should be with your dogs, like you know it, because you know where you belong, but you're gonna be twisting your fucking thumbs in the wrong
that's all right.
spot.
He's going with some Jesuit alums.
No, he's not.
Wow. Wow.
Russell, Andrew, please beep out all my cursing. If you got a little beep,
Oh
beep,
my
beep,
God.
beep, please beep all that out. Ron turning his back on his people like that.
I
Shameful.
got no rebuttal other than
disgraceful.
Hey, a man of my word, high integrity. When I make reservations, I keep the reservations, and I'm sorry. I mean, I'm a man for others, and in this case, the others just happen to be a couple brother Martin grads.
I think
A man for brother Martins.
I think in a twisted way of trying to stay loyal to a quote unquote reservation, you're being a little bit unloyal.
I couldn't agree more, Jay. I couldn't agree more.
Ron, not being with your brothers through victory and strife.
Ron, we have 60 07 Jays getting together. And you know what? We're going to have 60 seats next to each other with one gap, because that's what it's going to feel like when you're not there. We're going to have one seat not taken in the middle where you belong.
That's right.
Well, okay. So wait, George, I think we had a fan question. Helena Perino asking, all right, are we going? So I think we answered that part. Where's the pre-party going to be at, dude? Where are these 60 Jays going to be at?
I don't want to tell everybody where my parents live, because this is going on the World Wide Web. They haven't gotten full approval yet. But
I
we're going to
thought
start.
There was a local watering hole on Calhoun.
Ron, for Christ's sake, you have to answer. You have to ask the question and let it go. Now I'm answering the question. So I don't want to tell the world where my parents live, but we're about to go old school and have a parent house party. And then from there, we're going to go to Calhoun Street. On Calhoun Street, we're going to go to Roberts. On Calhoun Street, we're going to go to Felipe's. On Calhoun Street, we're going to go to Frost Stop. And guess what? We're going to get a beer at each one. Guess what? We're going to get 2 beers at each one. And then what we're going to do, we're going to cross Claiborne. We're going to be chanting. We're going to be clapping. Are we going to keep our shirts on? No, we're not. And we're going to go full Ron for the Jays Saturday night.
Oh, man, dude. Tits out for the Jays?
Tits out, back hair out. We're going to be we're going to let it all out. Why? Because the championship game, we do it for our comrades.
There will be boxing matches between the soccer crew and the baseball crew in George's backyard. It's going to be great.
All right. Well, wait. I think then we need to get maybe 2 special weather reports. I think we're going to need to know what the weather's going to be Thursday and Saturday. So I'm calling out the weatherman.
Hey, Rons, it's Red, the weatherman. And this Thursday, November 2nd, your 5-6 New Orleans Saints are going to stay at home to take on the Dallas Cowboys. It's a 7:20 p.m. kickoff, and we'll be playing in the Caesars Superdome. Anyway, Rons, let's get straight on over to the weather as we play in the Dome, but the weather will affect tailgating. With a high of 71 degrees, it's going to feel like 73 degrees. I'm looking at a 0% chance of rain, with 26% cloud coverage in the immediate area and a brisk wind at 6 to 7 miles per hour out of the northwest. I'm predicting conditions to be sunny and pleasant. That's right, Rons. But that's not the only game this week. Let's quickly move on over to Saturday, November 4th, where Jesuit will be taking on Catholic in the LHSAA State Championship at 7 p.m. at Yeoman Stadium. And that's right, Rons, it's on Bent Wiener Street. Anyway, let's get straight on over to the weather, as this is an outdoor stadium, and I expect the weather to play a big role in this game. With a high of 75 degrees, it's going to feel like 77 degrees. But on this day, we have a 55% chance of rain, with 49% cloud coverage in the immediate area, and again, a brisk wind out of the north at 5 to 9 miles per hour. I'm expecting conditions to be a little different on this one, Rons. It's going to be cloudy with some sun, and there's a chance of spotty thunderstorms. So bring a rain jacket and bring your positive vibes as we cheer on the Jays to win the championship. Anyway, Rons, remember one important thing. Whether you like it or not, it's Red, the weatherman.
Ron, great idea there, and thank you, Red, for another great weather report. Ron, I got another fan question coming in hot. This one's for you. This is a good friend of Thomas Morstead saying this. What are your thoughts on the fact that the Falcons love to pick up our favorite players after their best days are behind them? He's referring to Morton, Bobby, Morstead, and don't forget Hollywood.
No, I mean it's like the only way they can really get at us, right? Is like this passive aggressive, just, oh yeah, well, we're gonna see if there's anything left to squeeze out of this one. Let's see if there's anything left, any little bit of fruit left on this one, and a little meat on the bone, however you want to say it. And yeah, it's like it's just spiteful at times. It feels like. I mean, I didn't even really keep up with the Falcons punting game, but like, was that really necessary? Did they need to go sign a punter mid-season? Must have had an injury or something. Look, you can't fault Morstead, and no Rons out there better be hating or anything like that on Morstead. Look, you got to take the paycheck where you can get it, and yeah, good for him on getting double paychecks this year. So yeah, it's all they can do, George, to try to get at us. And I hate to admit, it does taint the memory just a little bit, right? Because you've got these internet, the pictures are on the internet. Like, you go to Google them, you can't help but find them, and then you have this memory pop up on you again. You're like, damn it, they did play for the Falcons. So, no, it's not great. Don't love it, but understand how it works. I mean, it's just how it goes. All right, so look, we talked about the festivities Saturday. We haven't really talked about the festivities Thursday, though. Look, home game. Everybody's coming off the holidays. Everybody should have gotten plenty of naps in since Thanksgiving dinner, and they better be ready to turn it up. We've talked about all the game predictions for Saturday. I think it's time to get into game predictions for Thursday. So, look, boys, we've talked about it. It feels rough, but the night is always darkest before the dawn. And that's why, look, this Saints team throughout the years has always turned it up for the Cowboys, except for that one time that we went to the game in Dallas and we got beat. But other than that, we've turned it up for Dallas. Backup quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, from Reggie Bush to Darren Sproles to CJ Spiller. I mean, we've always done it. And this time we're going to have Kamara back. I'm calling it now. We're going to have Kamara back. We're going to have Taysom back. The offense is going to have a little spark back. The defense is going to get supercharged. But it all just comes down to Sean Payton. Sean Payton gets a little extra juice going when he plays the old team, the Dallas Cowboys. So many years thought they were courting him to come back. But our man is loyal to us, and he always loves to stick it to him. And that's why I'm saying Saints 24. Actually, no, Saints 28. Cowboys 21. Book it. George, what do you got?
Ron, I was so distraught after Thursday. I had to turn to the Lord, and I lit a prayer candle saying, come on, can we guide the Saints? Can we get Kamara back? Can we get Ingram back? Can we get our offensive line healthy? And then, light came from the sky. I said, what was that? And then it was Brigham Young. It was Joseph Smith sending a Mormon saint to come rescue the saint I've been praying for over a month now. God doesn't deliver what you need right when you need it. He takes a little time to make you really understand that you needed it. And I've been trying to tell you for a long bloody time that we've needed it. And here it comes to save the day just in the nick of time to get us back in the playoffs. Where have you been, Taysom? Where have you been, Sean Payton? Why did you misplay this hand so grievously? Why didn't you listen to your boy, your disciple George, to lead you in the right direction, to let you know to play Taysom? Been saying it for a month now. Play Taysom. He's going to rescue the day. Saints 17. Don't trust the new kicker. Cowboys 16. In Taysom we trust.
He said Joseph Smith. Oh, I love that. I'm going to go Cowboys 34, Saints 21. As much as I'd like to believe it's the opposite, taking taking young Petey and Georgia. We're going to the game Thursday. He's fired up. Just haven't seen enough, fellas, to give me the optimism to pick the hometown team. I think this is a really good Cowboys team. I don't quite understand the struggles, but they, to me, seem to have the makeup to make a deep postseason run this year. I really like Dak, strong on defense, and I just don't fan through thick and thin, like you guys said earlier. I can't agree more with that sentiment. And we went through some really rough years to get to this Peyton era. But I think we'll be all right. And we'll be all right in the long run, though. I don't know about the short term. So I'm picking the Saints to go down 34-21.
Boo. Jay, dude, nobody cares if you try and be a realist on here. Nobody cares if you try and be the professional, accurate guy with the score predictions, dude.
Yeah,
Like
that's not cool
George
at all.
said, put it out in the atmosphere, dude.
I'm
Put it
doing
out in the
something.
universe.
I'm doing something.
Yeah,
I
something
tried
negative.
that last week. It didn't work, bro. All right.
Ron,
All right.
before you sign off, thanks to all 9 Instagram followers for following along, sending in their questions.
We have 9 people listening right now to us live.
We did throughout the podcast. Yeah,
Right
so
on.
appreciate you guys listening.
Prestige worldwide. Prestige
Andrew
worldwide.
Simmons, Chris Baldwin, Boogie Martin, Chris Vetters, Graham Schaefer. I don't know who any of these guys are, but thank y'all for your interaction.
There are dozens of us. All right. So, look, appreciate it, Jay. Trying something new tonight with the IG Live. Fun episode. Great segment with Dave Helman. Again, shout out Dave Helman, DallasCowboys.com.
100,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah, 100K Club. Where you at? Shout out Vets. All right. So, with that, we'll sign it off. But before we do, we got to give thanks to some special UTO footage from last week. Pro Saints Talk, we out here.
All right, Ron's Thanksgiving edition. Not only do we have females, we have children. Boris, tell the world what's up.
What's up?
This is Sweaters Vetters here, and I didn't eat my Thanksgiving dinner, but I'm about to eat the living shit out of George's son. Oh, sorry, EST, because he is so goddarn cute. But my expectations, I'm going to keep it a little brief. There's a lot of elderly out here. It's a very unusual scene. I'm looking at LeBron with his brother-in-law. There are a lot of dads/grandpas out here. So I'm going to end it on one note. Boris is going to end it on one note, rather. What is the final score? What's the final score?
28-14.
There it is. You heard it here first. All right.
All right, you the man. Back-to-back Thursday. We'll see y'all big next Thursday. Boys, stay at the street, dog. Stay at the street.